What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the local meta report here in St. Louis, Missouri. I, of course, am Brad, aka the mayor of Lorcana and co-host of the Rules of Villainy podcast. I missed you last week. I happened to be out of town at DLC Indianapolis having the time of my life, watching one of my teammates and friends make his way to the top cut, our very first North American Continental qualifier from the ROV team. Grapes Andy got it done. So very proud of him. Want to give him one more special shout out for doing that. Can't wait to see what you do over in LA at Disneyland, I guess Anaheim, in August. So if you want to hear more about that, our experiences and Andy's as well, check out the podcast this week. We had a great, very lengthy episode this time. We are known for going a little bit long, but this week we went even longer because we had not only Andy, but another day tour, top 64, and our captain Jimmy making it that far as well. Great episode. Proud of these guys, but you are here today for some set championship winning decks, and we have a lot of them. I have 2 from last week that we are going to celebrate first and foremost, and then another 6 or 7 from this week. We had a loaded set championship weekend, and I can't wait to get into it. So without further ado, let's jump into those right now. All right, our very first deck of the week comes to you by way of Manticore Game Shop in O'Fallon, Missouri. ROV's own Linc gets it done with It's Trouble Time. That's right. He is playing Blurple, and he has become a master at playing Blurple, and I will take credit for introducing him to this color combination just a few sets ago. He used to be a sapphire steel guy, and then I said, hey, let's switch decks so you can see what true power looks like, and here he is, winning set championships with it several months later. Looking at this deck, I think we talked about it not too long ago on one of these videos as well. Some of the newer cards he has in here is the 4-drop Sven, comes out with Challenger 3, I'm sorry. So he's a 5/3 with Rush on challenging and evasive. That card has been problematic. I've been testing with Linc quite a bit. Don't ask him about my Dwarfs deck because I might bring up some bad memories, but just kidding. He knows I'm just messing with him. Sven is a very, very strong card, especially in an evasive heavy meta. It puts every evasive character that you have in danger. Sven comes out, the leaping reindeer, taking care of all of those. Of course, Fauna is just another Basil at the 1-drop. She's a 2/1 with support of the fairy type. 2 of the Mrs. Incredible, a new card here in Wilds Unknown, who is super stretchy. She is a flexible card on theme with her character. At the start of your turn, you can choose to either give her evasive until the start of your next turn or give her +1 lore for questing when you need that extra little bit of lore power there. Everything else here looks like the standard Blurple build, running 4 guidebooks and 2 Tamatoas to recur those. So infinite draw here in this deck. Linc had a great day at Manticore Game Shop. I think they had a full 16, if I remember correctly, but one of the younger players here in the community and finding success with a really, really good deck. So congratulations to Linc on our first deck here in this video. All right, our second and last deck from last week all the way out in Farmington, Missouri at Aesop's Treasure. We had Rocket Rob getting it done with Amethyst Steel, a traditional Amethyst Steel, as we all come to know over the last several sets, because it is a very consistent deck. It's challenge heavy. You get lore from the Calhoun. You got your 1-drop in the Captain Hook, who's been a staple since set 1. A little bit of extra lore from the Mulan, the Pocahontas, who gets to tag an exerted character for whatever their lore value is. A great combination with this new boost Genie from last set, or at least from Whispers, where he came from Winterspell, I apologize. Magical Researcher, for every card underneath him, he gets +1 lore, so a really cool combo there if you continually boost that Genie and keep him alive, probably by moving the damage from the Cheshire Cat when you're boosting him each and every turn as well. So a lot of draw opportunities here with the Dumbo, with the Genie, with the Yzma. You got your Demona at turn 6, or Ink 6. I guess you're not ramping here, so it would be turn 6 at earliest you can play Demona. You got your Control with the Hurleless Thunderbolt and Strength of a Raging Fire. A Spice card in the Queen, Jealous Beauty, where you can exert her to move things from the discard to their opponent's discard to the bottom of their deck. And if a princess is included, you get 4 lore instead of the 3 you would get otherwise. So just more ways to cheat out more lore than that character could get herself by questing. Really fun deck. Really excited to see some of these cards you don't see often. Bagheera was another fun card they released, a legendary card from several sets ago, set 7. He is a 5-cost inkable 4/3 that quests for 2, and when he is banished on your opponent's turn, he does a grab your sword across the board. Everything is dealt 2 damage. So just more damage throwing out there. And of course, I got to mention Doc. We were talking about draw earlier. Doc has been a fundamental card in this deck for quite a while. Rob got it done. The only match he lost in Swiss got his revenge in the final round against Emerald Amber, of course, and it was dogs. Dogs are running rampant, but we are seeing less of them, but we will not be avoiding them in this video. We will be talking about at least one dog's deck later down the line. So anyway, congratulations to Rob. I'm glad you reached out and asked me to include this. Thank you so much for watching. I'm glad you enjoy this, and congratulations on getting your elusive Woody playmat. All right, our very first deck of this weekend comes to you by Rules of Villaini's own Andy, getting it done with Emerald Sapphire Baja version 12.1 at Game Night, my local league, the one that I run and build a community for, and so happy to get to do so. We have such a great time. We had a great event with this. We pre-celebrated my birthday with some cake, and we had some pin trading. Just a great day overall. And then my co-host and friend getting it done with a very mean deck. Mind you, this deck has been popping off recently. It's not the only time we're going to talk about it on here. There has been a lot of Baja the last few weeks, primarily as if you're a fan of this video series, you've heard me talk about this Milo Thatch. He's a 7-cost inkable 5/5 to quest for 3 with ward and a couple abilities to boot. But what's more fun is that this Buzz Lightyear is a one of in all of these decks. The Jungle Ranger. When you play this character, you may return an action card with 7 cost or less from your discard to your hand, and whenever you play an action, chosen character gets +1 lore this turn, and that happens. I heard him tagging characters over and over throughout the day and just making it very painful for his opponents, especially when this Buzz Lightyear can recur the meanest card in the game, Bend to My Will, a 7-cost uninkable action where each opponent discards all cards in their hands. So you can take these, You're Welcome, for example, have them bounce a couple things back to their hand or to the deck, and then draw 2 cards, and you know what? My Clarabelle's going to sing You're Welcome. My Prince Philip's going to sing You're Welcome. Whoever else is going to sing You're Welcome. Basically, everybody in the top row there. And then I'm just going to play Bend to My Will with all the ink I have in my inkwell from ramping with Cindy and Moana and Tipo and Sail the Azurite Sea. And then on top it all off, he's got Under the Sea in here too, just to clear that board whatever way he pleases. We got the Prince Philip combo with the Shift and the Malicious, Mean, and Scary. God, Villain Andy is an appropriate name for the deck that he is playing because it's villainous. Don't want you to play cards. Don't want you to have anything on your board. Don't know what to tell him. Don't know what to tell you guys. This is a mean deck, but it got it done in a field of 15 at Game Night. Congratulations, my friend, for getting your first playmat in a couple sets, I believe you said on the way out the door. I think since Jafar, maybe. You'll correct me on the podcast, I'm sure. But so happy to see a rule. Even Inkdex reached out and said, congratulations to Rules of Villainy, because the top 8 was loaded with Rules of Villainy players. And I couldn't be more proud of every single one of them. So again, congratulations to Andy. Let's move on to the next deck. All right, our very next deck coming to you by way of Gambrill Games. We have our very own Chip getting it done with Amber Amethyst. And this is a fun deck that has been taking off this entire set, all centered around, I believe, he'll tell you, Dale, this legendary card, Dale, ready for his shot. He's a 0/4 quest for 2, but his main feature is that he has the spike suit, which I saw some great cosplay of this in Indianapolis. I'm sure there's pictures out there somewhere. But spike suit gives Dale the ability, during challenges, your characters deal damage with their willpower instead of their strength. So now we're looking at these characters. You see the Louisa Madrigal at 1 is now hitting for 3. She would be a 2/3 with Challenger, but now she can safely turn sideways without not doing damage back, right? Because she's going to be hitting with 3. The tree now hits for 2. The Mowgli hits for 2 as well. But then where it really gets spicy is then we have the cat hitting for 4 if you are turning that cat sideways. A lot of people don't, because there is a lot more value in boosting that card over and over again. But then you got Augustin Madrigal, who's a 3/6 with support, which you can use the support to Jimmy, our captain, told me earlier, is like, yeah, the support doesn't really work in challenging anymore when Dale's on board. He's going to swing for 6, but if he doesn't swing for 6 and decides to quest, he can support the enemy and use a World's Greatest Criminal Mind, which is a 3-cost song that allows you to banish a chosen character with 5 strength or more. So a little bit of a sneaky support there would put people in the threshold to be banished by that song if you have the ability to do so. Looking through the rest of the deck here, we got a couple Isis Vanderchills that exerts a character on play, Dumbo for draw, Mrs. Incredible we talked about in Link's deck, Hades for a deal, Elsa's a staple. Ohana means family. I don't know exactly what how it worked or what I'm trying to say here is Chip told me Ohana was an MVP over the course of this tournament because this card is Rapunzel on a body, but there is no limit to it. It's a 3-cost inkable action. It says remove all damage from chosen character of yours. Draw a card for each 1 damage removed this way. So looking at the board here, we have a couple characters that have 6 willpower. Mrs. Incredible, Demona, the Augustin Madrigal. The higher the willpower, the more damage they can hold, and then the harder they hit with Ohana Means Family to get some draw back into your hand instantly, not just 1 at a time with Dumbo, but perhaps up to 5 if you're holding on to 5 damage with one of these characters. Of course, Raging Storm is in here if the board gets out of control, some Woodchuck guidebooks for some draw, and the library for some draw as well if your characters are banished while being there. So congratulations to Chip. I know him and Megan made it to the finals there. I think there was a Funzy game. I think they were done playing by the time it got to the finals, but Chip won the game. I don't remember all the details, but it was a hard-fought tournament by both of them, and we'll be talking about Megan here just a little bit shortly. So congratulations one more time to Chip. Let's move on to the next one. All right, moving out to Fortuna Games on Saturday in a field, I believe, of 16. Lukas took it down, the top spot being Blurple. Not a whole lot different than what we saw a little bit ago in Link's deck. It looks like he favors a little bit more of the challengers and the 1-drop with the Rafiki and the Royal Guard. Still has support there on Basil if he finds him, but not a whole lot of reason for support anymore since the Genie has found his way out of the meta almost entirely. Most of the time we were looking for Basil into Elsa to take out a Genie cleanly. Elsa still needs that extra boost to take out the Dumbo, but of course we have the Cheshire Cat to move damage, and we have the Sven who comes out and takes care of Dumbo immediately as well. So aside from that, not a whole lot of changes. He does favor the Warded Scuttle 5/5 quest for 2 at the 5 slot over the Tamatoa that Link had. So there's no recurring of the guidebooks in this deck, but still a really solid deck. He's got plenty of draw in the Hades if they choose to let him draw Demona when he gets his hand depleted. Plays to Demona, hopefully with a wide board to do some damage and take stuff out while drawing 3 cards at the same time. And then the hard removal in Hades and Let It Go. I believe he sent me his matchups, but I don't have them in front of me at the moment, but great player. Shout out to him for getting it done with a really solid deck. I'm interested to see what happens to Blurple after rotation in just a few short weeks, because it looks like the turn 2 ramp in Tipo and Sail the Azurite Sea is actually going away, unless we fall back and we really need that turn 2 ramp. We still have 1 jump, but we'll see. We're going to see how this all changes. This is like the swan song for Blurple and a lot of decks as we know them. But yeah, I'm going on too long for as many decks as I have left in this video. Congratulations one more time to Lukas. All right, moving on to Sunday. Our very first deck of the day comes to you by way of our captain. Oh, captain, my captain, Jimmy, getting it done with Amberthist. Ohana Means Family. And when you look at this deck, it's going to look extremely familiar because we just talked about it a little bit ago, with the one difference I see off the bat being the Ursula, Whisper of Vanessa, 5-cost inkable 4/5 that quests for 2. But if you boost her one time, her ability Slippery Spell comes into play. While there's a card underneath her, she gets +1 lore and gains evasive. So another strong card there at the 5 slot. The one thing I want to point out, though, is that looking at this deck, the only card I think that is rotating out in just a couple weeks is the Elsa, 5th Spirit, a staple in the Amethyst decks since set 5. And so this deck is super strong right now. Elsa is a big part of that with the rush exert that she has and being evasive. But it might be, I don't know, I'm not familiar enough with the newest cards yet, but it might be an easy fix. Might just change some numbers on here, switch the Ursula to 4 and maybe the Isis to 4. I don't know. Those both or Isis exerts, but Ursula is just a strong presence, a 4/5, and another great target for Ohana Means Family, as we talked about just a little bit ago. So plenty of draw in the deck, evasive removal and the Horseman Strikes. Super, super strong, and not surprised at all that our captain got it done in a tough field, a very tough field there at Trading Card Market. But proud of him, proud of everybody who made it to the top cut. And yeah, congratulations one more time to Jimmy. All right, moving out to Endless Comics and Games, I have a unique one for you and something that really warms my heart. Both Rules of Villainy members, Captain Inks, Steven and Megan, got to the finals. Congratulations to both of them. We're going to talk about both of their decks, but they decided getting to the finals that they were going to split the win and gift the Woody playmat to Vince here on the Rules of Villainy podcast because he wanted this more than anything. He is a huge Toy Story fan. We meme about him at Gen Con when they announced Toy Story and his jumping for joy and hooting and hollering when he saw Woody and Buzz for the first time. And it just truly represents what we are as a team to our core of giving back to the community and our friends and everybody, so that we can spread the wealth and make this game what it is, what it means to us to be so generous and everything. So I'm going on too long about that, but I want to give a special shout out to Steven and Megan for doing that. It is when Steven told me this, I was like, that's super cool of you guys, and Vince is absolutely going to love that. Little did I know Vince was actually there too. Maybe he persuaded them to do it. I don't know how much money I'm joking. Super cool of you guys. Let's talk about your deck, starting with Steven on Gothel's Last Stand, Ruby Amethyst. He is the Ruby Amethyst king here at Rules of Villainy. He calls it Gothel's Last Stand because Mother Gothel, the 3-cost inkable 1/4 Vein Sorceress, is going to be rotated out in just a couple of weeks, and this is a fun dual ink card that says, now you have upset me. Whenever one of your characters challenges, you may move 1 damage counter from chosen character to chosen opposing character. You got more damage moving with Violet Parr, a new card in Wilds Unknown. When you play this character, you may move 1 damage from chosen character to chosen opposing character. That kind of helps heal up your 1-drop Mulan. So does Mother Gothel at the time that Mulan is challenging or somebody else, so you can heal her up pretty quick as you're approaching the Shift 5 Mulan Elite Archer. The Cheshire Cat, of course, is the big damage mover in all Amethyst decks, one of the best cards in the game, and going to continue to be that for quite a while. But looking at the rest of the deck, he's got the Reckless Evasive Jebediah. He's got the Isis Vanderchill for the Exert. Of course, Dumbo and Slushy. Slushy is a mean 4-cost uninkable 5/5 with Evasive. Could also trigger off of the Dumbo if you need the draw, or he'll swing 5 into something, surely taking out almost everything standing across from him that was foolish enough to turn sideways. One of the Headless Horsemen is kind of surprising to me because the Headless Horseman is a card that is hard removal for anything 2 strength or less, and then buffing up the rest of your characters on your board to continue to challenge, and every one of those challenge, of course, triggering the Mother Gothel for some moves. Be King Undisputed is a card that Steven has run with for a very long time, a 4-cost inkable song or uninkable song that makes the opponent choose a character to banish. So if you find yourself in a position where you can strategically use that, especially on the warded characters that have been coming more and more into the meta, Be King is a great card for that. Of course, we got card draw with the Woodchuck Guidebook and a couple Maui Sharks, but the only thing Maui Shark is recurring in this deck is the Be King Undisputed, and I wonder how much value he finds in doing that. It's interesting. Yeah, most of the time you see Maui Shark getting in an action-heavy deck, but Be King Undisputed is a great song to recur because not only, it is 4 costs, but you have so many characters on the board by the time you're recurring things with Maui Shark that it could just be sung again, and then Maui gets, of course, a lore every time that song is played while he is on the board. So Yeah, really good deck. Congratulations to Steven for getting it done in that capacity. But we got to give a shout out to Megan as well, another great player here at Rules of Villain who split the finals with them. And this was another Baja deck. She called it One Buzz. As soon as she sent me the title of her deck, I knew exactly what it was because we just talked about it with Andy as well. She's running one fewer Milo, but she's got the One Buzz in there to recur actions and give lore to other characters on the board. We talked about everything else in here. The one thing that I see different from Andy's right away is a one action or a one of the action. Someone will lose his head. A 3-cost inkable song, and each opposing character gets -2 strength this turn. So just another way to enable the Under the Sea that she has in here as well. But she has all the removal with the Malicious, Mean, and Scary and Prince Philip combo. You got the Bend to My Will for just that. That's a very mean discard your opponent. Your opponent wants to play cards too, guys. But yeah, another Baja up there in the finals, and it could have gone either way. But again, props to both of you for splitting it and giving it to somebody who really, really wanted it this set as a big Toy Story fan. So that's it. Congratulations to Steven and Megan for your success. All right, last and certainly not least, we have Tom Casey getting it done at the Underground Dojo in Collinsville, Illinois, with Emerald Amber dogs. More dogs. As soon as he messaged me his list, I saw the colors, and I don't expect anything less from Tom. He's always been on these colors as long as I've known him, and I immediately put in big letters, no dogs, like Edna Mode with her capes in The Incredibles. That's how I feel about seeing these dogs, but they are consistent. They are resilient. They find a way to get to the top tables, and Tom does it expertly. I've seen him play it for months now, and he's doing it with this version. The one drops, we have Aurora, we have the hamster, we have Lady, and we have Bobby. Those all come out. Bobby does a filter. Lady is out there to with a 3-body, hard to get rid of on turn 1, and just looking for that extra lore from the Tramp combo on 2 possibly. But most of the time what he's looking for on 2 is the tree, the Grandmother Willow, who is going to be a pain for the next several sets, because when she comes out on 2, assuming that they have the Aurora on 1 and the Willow on 2 and another 1-drop on 3, or on after playing the Willow, that will enable the Queen Eleanor coming out on 3, because you have the princess in Aurora to make the queen cost a little bit less. And then by that time, they can turn all 3 things sideways and make the queen proc immediately with the one lore, 1 damage, and 1 card draw. One spicy card he has in here as well that I have not played against, but I've seen start slipping into some of these decks and some Infinity decks as well, is the Queen, this Devious Disguise. She's a 5/3 quest for 1, 4-cost inkable. When you play this character, you may draw a card. If you do, each opponent gains 2 lore. And Jealous Heart. While an opponent has more lore than you, this character gets +2 lore. So a little bit of lore manipulation there. Curious to see how it plays out. It seems like a spice card because everything else in this deck works well already together. So I don't know entirely what she brings to the table. I would have to talk to Tom and get a better understanding of it. But I trust that he knows what he's doing because he found his way to the #1 spot there at the Underground Dojo. Of course, the rest of the dogs deck is everything you know. Mowgli to snipe actions, Ursula to snipe songs, Nani for a little bit of draw, and then the Mickey Mouse, former villain of the week, who comes out exerted and allows you to reduce strength for every character that quests while he's exerted, opening up the door for your entire board to be hit with Under the Sea that one of these 4 7-cost tramps is going to find as he filters through the deck, as he board grows more and more with every single character this deck plays, and does it with such little ink. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's about to rotate out, and we're probably just going to shift on to a version of this with toys now. So we'll see how that turns out. But congratulations to Tom in another strong field of players there. Really happy to see you get it done. I don't know if this is your first Woody Mat of the set, but it certainly wouldn't be your last. I think there's one more week that we're going to be playing this game, and hopefully you are not playing this deck anymore if I have to run into you. Just messing. I'm just totally kidding. All right, let's hit the outro. That's going to do it. That's going to wrap up this week's local meta report here in St. Louis. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you to everybody who submitted their decks to allow me to celebrate your success this week and every week, whether it be the locals or the local weeklies or the set championships. It is always a blast to to break down these decks to the best of my ability, which isn't much, but it is a lot of fun. So shout out to all of you and your continued success in the game. I had a great time at DLC Indianapolis, seeing all my old friends near and far, and a great St. Louis turnout. It was just an incredible experience this weekend, hosting the set championships at game night and celebrating my birthday today. My wife was really kind to put together a montage of a bunch of different content creators and locals who wanted to wish me a happy birthday, and it meant the world. So had a great weekend doing that. But yeah, just kind of rambling here. I'm happy to be back and celebrating you. So if you like this kind of content, please like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications for any kind of Rules of Villainy content. Of course, we have the podcast proper on Fridays. We have Deck Test Tuesdays with Kirsten and Andy on Tuesday nights, of course. And many more things to come. Some more live streams and whatever else we can think of. Anything you have ideas for, let us know. We'd be more than happy to entertain those. And join us on our Discord, which you can find in the link in the description below. We're communicating about the game and just random stuff all the time and growing this community. So that's it. Appreciate you tuning in. And until next time, happy questing.